Today we're going to cover the cabin filter for the Mark IV Toyota Supra. And this isn't something that came with these cars. It wasn't even a dealer option, technically. But what someone realized is that the Lexus SC300 and SC400 has a very similar airbox to the Toyota Supra. And some of those Lexus cars actually have cabin filters. And you can steal the bracket off the airbox for the Lexus. And if you look under your Toyota Supra, under the glove box area, there's actually the outline of where the cabin filter would go. And you can score that and cut out the plastic with a razor blade and clean up the edges with a file or a Dremel. These are the big pieces that I removed. And you'll have the same opening that the Lexus would have. There's even provisions there. There's channels on the blower box for these cabin filters. And you can take that bracket from the Lexus and it'll secure it. There's even slots for these square nuts to slide into, and then these are what bolt it to. So you can steal all of this from a Lexus. You can order the OEM air filters, which is this part number right here. There's even some aftermarket ones that are a little cheaper, and you can add a cabin filter to your Toyota Supra. And I don't know why Toyota opted not to include these on the Supra. Maybe it was to cut cost, or maybe they figured most of them are Targas, and do you really need cabin filters if you have the Targa off? But I like them just because I run them in my Subaru. I find that it keeps my vents a lot cleaner from dust. So the issue here is if you can't find a Lexus that has one of these, you can't order just this cover from the dealer anymore. They've been discontinued for a while. So I've developed a 3D printed one, and that's what this is right here. It's made of ABS plastic, and it's got a channel, it's got the slots for the filters, the holes are in the right spot, and you can run one of these if you don't want to try to source this one from the Lexus. And I've made these before for other cars. This right here is a Subaru Impreza GC8. This is the OEM cover. These have been discontinued for a while. It's metal, it's rubber, it's a pretty complex shape. I created a 3D printed one, and I've been selling them for probably 4 or 5 years now. So let's go over how this works, how it actually gets installed. So these are the filters, and you can see on this front of it, there's this channel. It's basically a wide channel. And after you cut the opening out of your Supra, if you look up there, you're going to see like a U area that's meant to go around this channel. So this first filter is got to go up in that slot and then slide towards the firewall. And this little tab that's on the bottom of it, that's meant to lock into this slot in the filter cover. So it would go just like this. And then on the back side, there's a single channel here, and that's for the second filter. And both filters are the same. You can't really mix them up. So this double channel here, that single channel would go in between it, and they kind of lock together. And then this tab on the back side, that would obviously be for going right here. And you'll see this one's got a bend to it, and that's because I've had it in the car. When you have the slot open and you go to apply the first filter, there's plenty of room because there's not already a filter there. So you can kind of slide this up at an angle, straighten it up, slide it forward. But once that's in place, the second one, you can't slide it straight up like it needs to because the footwell is at an angle. So that's why this has a bend to it. It's actually meant to bend 90 degrees to the side, so you can get the first one slid up and then you can straighten it. And as you straighten it, this tab will lock in, and then you'll be able to slide it straight up. And it comes with very, very thorough instructions when you order this. This part number's for both filters, so it's not like one filter comes in here. You get both filters that you need to install. It comes with this fancy pamphlet, and then it kind of covers the install in every language. So it basically just goes over what I described. So let's take these over to the car, and I'll kind of show you what I mean. And these knee pads right here, you can get those from Harbor Freight for like $4. They're the best things ever. So here's under the dash, and that's that opening that I cut out. And you kind of score inside the box until the razor blade punches through. You can take a Dremel to it if you want. And once you have it scored, you can kind of snap the pieces out, and you'll still have some residue along the edges. Maybe it's not quite a clean cut or there's some overhang. You can clean that up with a file or a Dremel. And while you have this out, I'd recommend taking the side panel out and dropping your blower motor. You can really clean that, and you can put your whole hand up there, and you can wipe the entire inside of the blower box out with a wet rag. And mine was pretty grubby despite the car being pretty clean. If I try to shine the light up there, see if I can get everything to focus, you can kind of see below that pipe, you can see that channel for the front of the filters that I was talking about. That's what keeps them upright. That's what keeps the front from wanting to kick to the side. So when you shove the first filter up and over, it'll go into that channel, and then the next one goes behind it. And this is the carpet. It's in the way. It's why you can't slide it straight up, and it has to come down at a 90 as you put it in. But let's take the OEM cover for the Lexus, and you can see the square slots there. I've actually got some 1032 nuts in there right now instead of the square ones, just because I was trying to find something that would work with a 3D printed one in case you can't find the square nuts. So this is the OEM from the Lexus. It goes right up there, and then you'd have the wing nuts that get applied. This thing that my finger is on, this plastic that sticks down, that doesn't even need to be there on this car. I could cut that right off. That's because there's another panel on the Lexus, I think, that goes underneath this, and that's for one of those Christmas tree clips. So let's pull this off. And then here's the 3D printed one. And this is 3D printed out of ABS, so it holds up really well to heat. It's not going to warp or sag or droop or shrink or anything like that. It fits up there nice and snug, and you'd have to slide those nuts in and then use a bolt right here, or one of those Allen key things. One thing that I'm wondering, let me close this, is when you have that plastic filter sitting on there, this has got to put a little bit of tension on it. Is it going to want to rattle? Is it going to want to leak? There's no rubber seal or anything on this like the OEM one. And I haven't had any problems with the Subaru ones that I sell. But you could realistically glue a piece of felt or something on the top of this. That would surely fix any rattles, or even put a little piece inside here. And I do have a channel in it that technically you could put some foam or something in if you want to try to seal it. But I've had this bolted up, and I've had my blower on high, and I've felt around it with my fingers, and I can't really feel any draft or anything like that. So I don't run anything like that on the Subaru bracket. So I don't think you need to here, but it's definitely an option. There is a little bit of room in there if you wanted to put a piece of foam or something. It shouldn't be an issue. So that's it. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll put a link to my website in the video description.